Are you ready for a reboot? Welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. History reminds us those hit hardest often become the change makers. This year, we've all hit crazy economic, social, and emotional rock bottoms. We all get knocked down. Something hits globally, locally, personally. It affects our health, finances, our relationships. We have to recreate a business or career. Each show, Sheila and her special guest will be sharing their reboot stories, guiding you with real solutions to upgrade and up-level emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, and financially. Here on NBC's KCAA Radio, Mondays at 1 and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Time. If you're ready to pull yourself up by the bootstraps and bra straps, enjoy a listen. Here's Sheila.
Welcome to the show. This is Sheila Mack, your host. And before we get started, I did want to share about 3SSENTIA, the new app that will help you increase your productivity. So take a listen.
Hey there, welcome to Essentia and great to have you on board. Essentia is a new type of daily planner designed to help you manage your day in a more sustainable way so you can feel more energized and find time for what's most important for your well-being and personal fulfillment. On Essentia, you can raise your activities by either clicking the new activity button, which allows you to set specific deadlines, put notes, or amend the duration of your activity, or alternatively, through a shortcut if it's something you need to do today. Whether you're raising the task directly through Essentia or by syncing your Google Calendar for all your meetings or calls, you will be able to define how difficult and inspiring your activities are, as that enables you to get immediate feedback on how your day is looking like and Essentia's well-being assistant to understand how to best support you. So once you're all set with what you need to do for the day, click the Optimize My Schedule button and watch our well-being assistant help you bring your day to life. Based on your mood and the difficulty of your tasks ahead, your well-being assistant will suggest the most effective way to prioritize your day to ensure you maintain healthy energy levels. It will also schedule in short recharge breaks with motivational boosts or well-being hacks to ensure you stay positive, balanced, and productive throughout your day. As our goal at Essentia is to help you thrive both in your professional and personal life, once you start designing your wish list, which is where you can raise all those activities that you'd love to do in your week for your well-being and personal fulfillment, our well-being assistant takes care of helping you find the optimum time to complete them by automatically suggesting the most suitable ones in your day so you can achieve that great work-life experience you deserve and build healthier habits at the same time. So what are you waiting for? To get started, all you need to do is complete the onboarding task in the Today's To Do activity section. Enjoy the new way of experiencing your day.
All right. All right, welcome to the Sheila Mack Show, reality at its finest. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. I'm your host, Sheila Mack, and today we have Fillippo Di Lenardo, and he is a passionate entrepreneur with a relentless aspiration to understand what makes people tick. Filippo is the co-founder of a company called 3SSENTIA. 3SSENTIA is a smart day planner that helps professionals boost their energy levels and improve the quality of their work-life experience. Filippo's background is in hospitality. He also enjoys studies in subjects such as behavioral science, neuroscience, psychology, and human-computer interface. All of these passions inspired him to dedicate his efforts in developing technologies that provide experiences for good. Filippo is a believer that technology, if used consciously, can have the power to accelerate our evolution and flourish as human beings. So his company is, you can learn more about it at www.3sentia.com, and we will talk more about it during this show. Welcome to the show, Filippo.
Thank you, Sheila, for having me. It's a pleasure.
All right. And one of the first things I like to start off each show with is based on my new book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And obviously, this last 12 months, let's just say, we have had every situation hit us globally that we couldn't even imagine this. In 2019, if anybody told us about what was going to happen, we'd say that sounds like a really good movie to watch because it doesn't sound real. But here we are. So I love to ask if there is a time you could share with the audience where you hit a tough situation and how either you and your business or your personal life, how you got back on track.
Oh, plenty of times. I guess that's the beauty of it. Well, I mean, even relating to the business, it has been rocky as well for me. So it's uncertainty. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? So it's I guess as an entrepreneur, as part of the narrative, and I think a lot of times people only see the shiny bit, but the reality is there is tough times, and it's about how you bounce back. And there's this quote that I love by this writer Swindle that says, life is 10% what happens to us and 90% how we react to it. So
yes.
For sure, when people don't understand what you're doing, when your product sometimes is not working, it's very easy to feel, down. But then, there's always an opportunity around the corner. And I think it's about looking at it from a different perspective. But yeah, it's part of life, isn't it?
It is. And so that is something that happens to us all. And I love to hear more about your program and what you're offering and how that works, how that can help people this year organize so many new things that we have to deal with now in our lives.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think where should I start? Well, no, because obviously it's a broad subject, right? I think managing ourselves and in our day is no easy task. On average, our brain experiences something like 20,000 moments in a day. So with so much going on, there are so many variables, and so of course there are things we can't control, but there are also things we can control, and a lot of that has to do with how we approach things. And so what we wanted to do is build a system, a personal management system that allow people not only to become more effective at, managing and planning their day, but also develop as individuals, find more purpose, find more meaning, manage themselves more sustainably so they can thrive in their life and they can ultimately change their relationship with what they do. So it's not just ticking off a to-do list, but it's actually living those activities and expanding themselves. And I think, even in challenging times, the concept is to provide, in this case, in the form of an app, of a web application, a system that helps, people throughout the day to have wins ultimately. And
Right.
The inspiration came in many ways from, we looked at the science of productivity and the science of well-being, which I think it's an incredibly fascinating topic. When we look at the neuroscience of well-being, so the science that studies the brain, we see that there are 4 pillars to develop optimum well-being. And that is, the first pillar is self-awareness. So how aware are we of our states, our thoughts, our feelings? And then there is outlook, which is how we look at life, right? And this is perhaps the most important thing, especially in challenging times. And then there is resilience, which clearly is perhaps the key ingredient we all need right now. And then finally, the most beautiful, perhaps, generosity. It shows that when we are generous, we feel better about ourselves. So the idea is, like, how can we implement these 4 pillars in our day so we can thrive in our daily lives? And that's kind of been the inspiration behind the app in many ways, if that makes sense.
I love that. That's so true. And we're going to take a brief pause if you're listening in right now, and you will either hear or see, if you're on the on-demand TV or video, you will see the explanation about how this program works. And so take a listen. And okay, for those that are on the live stream, we're going to continue and I will add that to the post here. So here we go. So my next question is, what do you think, what are the effects? Have you done some studies on the effects of somebody using this program versus not, before and after starting to implement your program into their life?
Yeah, so obviously it's early starts, early days. The product obviously has been based on a lot of research that we found, based on the neuroscience of productivity and well-being. I think the main result is the ability to get to the end of the day and not feel so exhausted. Because energy is such an important part of who we are as human beings, and managing it effectively is hard. But is perhaps even more important than time management in some ways. And that's really what the focus of the product is to move the attention from task management to energy management, so that you can, we call it inner sustainability design. You can actually design a day where you can accomplish your goals, both in your personal and professional space, but do it in a more sustainable way where you don't feel so destroyed or so drained by the end of it. And that's been kind of the main goal. It's helping people change the way they deal with their day. They interact with their daily activities and how they prioritize them. Because actually, one of the things that is most taxing for our brain is to prioritize. And so we wanted to find a way to prioritize, to help people prioritize their day based on their mood and their energy level, and have it in a way that it goes with sort of how the day unfolds. So, sometimes you have to eat the frog if you're feeling good. Sometimes it's about finding that balance so that no matter what you do, you can still have energy by the end of the day. And that's really the key of what we're trying to achieve with Essentia.
Yeah, and it can make such a difference. I know for me, just the way I reorder things sometimes in my day has made a big difference. If I start the day off slow and don't get my energy workout in, or something, don't have a healthy meal and, eat the wrong thing or whatever, and then go work all day, it's not a good day. It's not the same energy level as a day where I give myself pause and I give myself time to, do my workout, do my journal, do all those, like, fuel myself, or have the break, the time that I need so that I can, I guess, refuel. And sometimes it's just changing the time of day that I do an activity, but this helps you. So could you give me an example of maybe a day, and how maybe when you use this app, how it functions and switches your day?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So, well, the first experience when you start your day, to plan your day, with Essentials, we ask you how you feel. It's a quick check-in, we call it, and it's just energy and emotion-wise, just to see where you're at. And that's so important, because that helps you understand where you're at, and then it helps us understand how your day is looking like. And then the idea is that when you raise your activities, you can define either how inspiring or challenging those are. And then what we do is, once you've set all your activities that you have to do for the day, we have this button called the one-click schedule optimizer. And what it does, it suggests based on your own input. So obviously there is a human-machine collaboration. It's not just us telling you what to do, but it's based on what you shared with us. The most sustainable and effective way to prioritize your day. So, if you're feeling terrible and you have a very taxing activity right from the get-go, it might not be the best decision long-term. So how can we get you in a state where you might be more open, more available, and more energized? So maybe it'll suggest you to, take a break, give you a little well-being hack. Well, that's one of the many things that we do. Or, part of the product is also to help you identify all those activities that you'd love to do for your well-being and personal fulfillment. So if that's the case, maybe do something that nourishes your body, your mind, your heart, So whether it's calling a dear friend, or, maybe doing yoga or meditation, or anything that actually is good for your mind, your body, and your heart. So there's no right or wrong order, but it's just trying to get you into a state where you're in tune with what you do. And that's the idea of the system, to kind of help you do that. And then as you get on with your day, support you in the flow of your day, but by reminding you to take breaks, give you well-being hacks by checking in with yourself to see how you're feeling, give you motivational boosts before your most important activities to really make sure that you have these kind of sustainable levels of energy throughout the day, and that ultimately you come to the end of your day and you still have time to do all those activities that you'd love to do for your well-being and personal fulfillment, and do them with joy rather than, oh, I have to do this. It's kind of that work-life balance, but we call it work-life experience because that's what
Yes.
life is.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. And it's sometimes hard to catch ourselves, especially if you're listening in right now and you work for yourself, or all of a sudden now you're working from home. And maybe before you had a work schedule where you went to a workplace and you had like, okay, now you have breaks. You have to take your break. You have to clock out and take your 15-minute or your lunch break or whatever. And there's a little more structure to that. And when we tend to work for ourselves from home, it's a little different. I've always been an entrepreneur, mostly working for myself. So I've had to have more discipline. When I've worked for other people, it's easier because they tell me, okay, now you go to break. And honestly, I could keep working 24/7. I could work until 3 to 4 in the morning when I'm on a project, but then I'll be really tired. After a few days, I'll be exhausted because I don't know how to stop. I'm very passionate about everything I do. And so I'm driven that way, but it's so you need a little bit of both. It may be that you need to be reminded to stop or to start because
Exactly.
there's the discipline that we don't have somebody looking over us at home. Maybe if you are accustomed to being in a workplace where there's other people and you're in a rhythm and you go to lunch together and talk, and now you can't do those things and you need that. So it really does help with the state. That's incredible, and it's very important.
Yeah, I think self-management is one of the most important skills to master. And I think, like yourself, I've been an entrepreneur most of my life, used to actually working remotely. And so for a lot of people, it was a shock, to kind of transition to this remote work where there is no real boundaries. I was speaking to someone the other day who was in the well-being space. People are suffering because maybe they don't have a morning routine. I mean, you were talking before about all these great activities you do to get yourself into the right state, and they're powerful. So if you could just help, people implement these daily habits, turn them into routines, you could really feel the difference that it brings to your life, your daily life. So absolutely.
Emotional state is everything. And one of my favorite mentors that I love, and I actually just was on his online event, is Tony Robbins. And his events, he's always reminding us to get into stay in state. What state are you in? When you show up in a room, you can tell if a person is in a good state. It's going to change the energy of the room. And so that is important. And to have that something that's going to help us train ourselves to stay in the emotional states we need to be in. And that doesn't mean that we're always on. That doesn't mean, it means that sometimes we have to go do the meditation or the refueling, the recharging, because there's no way you can go, if you're a car, you need to have gas, or you need to plug in if you're an electric car. And so we need to do the same thing. How is it that we don't give ourselves what we would give a vehicle?
Exactly. Exactly. No, and also it's about gear management, right? That's really it. And sometimes it's about taking the long-term view and understanding that, and that's why a lot of people have burnouts too. And that's one other reason why, the product helps, is that me too, I'm very passionate about what I do, but sometimes I realize you just hit diminishing returns. And actually you start then hitting a part of your brain that is not that creative anymore, and you're just forcing yourself, when in fact giving your brain a cognitive break actually helps create new pathways in the brain, so actually greater creativity for you. So sometimes less is more. It's just hard to get used to that concept, but it really does pay back over time.
Yes, and less is more. I think of Paratio, and I think of the 80-20 principle, and how, I mean, when I heard that and heard this whole, there's a whole book on it, and I listened to the book, and then I bought the book and read the book, and I was like, oh my gosh, this can apply to anything in my life. And it was a whole year of 80-20 everything.
Yeah.
What am I wasting my time on? What can I give my energy to in the 20% that's going to produce 80% of the outcomes that I want in my life, so that I can go have fun and relax and play a little bit. And I had a blast that year, and I kept going with that. I actually traveled the world and did all that before the world got locked down. And I'm so grateful that I was able to have that time, because I didn't know that we were going to not be able to do that.
Yeah.
So, we get to take advantage of what's in front of us right now. For me personally, I have grown children. I adopted 3, and 3 are my own. So they're 6 and they're all grown. And so I have a couple of them home that the university's closed. They're the youngest of them all, and they are home. And for a mom where your kids are grown, to have that little extra time to get to know your adult children, to me, that's like an opportunity that I would never have without our universal pause. And we have these great conversations and long walks and crazy barbecues, and we do silly, crazy things and joke and talk about all kinds of information that I don't even want to hear about, but in an adult way. And it's incredible, because these are the moments, the magic moments in life. And so I have a lot of gratitude, even for this crazy, difficult time, for the so you make the most out of what you have in front of you, and to be able to have an app that's okay. Hey, guess what? Right now, who's in front of you? Your kids, your loved ones, your family. These are, important people in your life, your community. Maybe you're home alone, but you can reach out to your community and really get involved now, because people need to connect more, and they need your talents. If you're sitting at home, you may be able to contribute in an incredible way. And so there's so many opportunities in this time.
Absolutely. I think I completely agree with you. I think, although challenging, I think this time is teaching us a lot of things, like we can do with less, for example, and find more in what we have, like you correctly said. There's this lovely saying that says that, life is about bringing more life to your days instead of days to your life. So I think in many ways it's also taught us to be more resilient, and to pause and really think what's really important for us and what do we really want. So even though it is tough, of course, it also is an opportunity to reflect and reboot in many ways. So yeah.
Yes. And I mean, I know, going back in my life, I was raised by grandparents a lot of the time when I was little. So I have one grandmother that lived to be 103. She was born in 1908. So she was a little girl during the Spanish flu. She went through the Depression. She went through all the different, they had smallpox, they had polio, they had all kinds of different situations that were crazy. And she would give me all this advice, and I'd be like, oh, that could never happen again. No, we're over that. We're better than that now. And guess what? Grandma was right. And so she's laughing up in heaven somewhere. She's laughing. She's like, see, I told you. And so, but she made it through. And the point of why I brought her into this conversation was, she made it through, and she was my example. And she had a whole group of friends that were all in her age group that would come over and have tea, and they would tell their stories. And I was this little girl, and I'd listen, and I'd think, oh, we all are going to go through an adventure in life. Life is not going to always be perfect. We're going to have a story to tell. Every single person I ask when they get on the show, they always have a story to tell of something they had to overcome. And that's part of our life. That's what makes our life beautiful, is how we get through something. It teaches us, it brings us so much technology and new ways of living and respecting life. And these older women that would sit together for tea, they were so stoic and strong and very feminine, but they all ran businesses back when it was kind of frowned upon for women to run a business.
Yeah.
And they were like, we got this, their husbands had passed away or whatever. They did it anyway. So they
Yeah.
were the frontiers of,
Yeah, no, definitely.
and we're going
No,
to be the frontiers of our time.
hopefully, yeah, no, but
Yes.
I completely agree with you. I think it's about, you were asking before, when was the time you went down? And I was just thinking, actually the time where I felt like I needed to find myself again was probably the best time in my life, because it really forces you to look at yourself and actually see how what may look as a negative event may be the greatest opportunity you actually need, because that's probably the step you need to make. So,
Yeah.
it's kind of like, instead of fighting against life, it's just letting life come towards you and actually use it as a tool to work with it again instead of against it. And I think that's
Mhm.
incredibly powerful.
Yes, it's like a surrender. It's not giving up.
No, exactly.
It's okay. This is what is. It's like not better. It's not worse. This is what is. Now, what are we going to do with it?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. And you don't get paralyzed by your fear, and you're just like, okay, it is what it is. What can I do? There's always where's the opportunity here? And I think that's such a powerful thing. It's I love this quote. I try to, to live by it every day, because it's so empowering. It's like, I don't lose. I either win or learn, by Nelson Mandela. And it's such a simple yet so powerful way of living, because that ultimately opens up so many opportunities, because you don't have time to recriminate, because
Mhm.
that really drains you. Talking about energy, that really kills your energy.
Right.
So
Yes. And one of the things, if you're listening in right now and you have a moment that you do have a day that didn't go so well, or a day that you felt down, or whatever, a bad day, a day that wasn't so great, that doesn't mean you have to stay there. It was a day, it was a moment, and that is okay too. Like, honor the fact that you got through the last 12 months or so. And it has been a wild ride for everyone. Honor that and give yourself a minute. And it's just going back to your app and how it helps people. It's, hey, it's okay. You might need to reset for a second, whether that's 5 minutes, a 30-minute, a day, sometimes something where you need a reset so you can get back into state. You can't always be on. It's that moment to be able to, maybe it's time to stop and say, wait, instead of looking at what went bad, what did I do right? How did I go this far? How did I get, wow, I got through all that. I helped these people. I did this, that, and the other. Give yourself credit for what you were able to do during such a time as this, and be okay with the fact that you needed that moment. Just don't stay there. Yeah,
yeah,
secret, because some people will get stuck, and we don't want to be stuck there. We just want to honor
no,
that need, and that just may be exhaustion. It may be because you don't have that, like an app like this, to help you say, oh wait, I need to pace myself. Maybe I'm on overdrive. I'm trying to survive so much. I'm trying to get back in order with my business or whatever, and I haven't taken a break or a day off or a minute to rest in weeks. And that, how many people have done that? I know I did that a lot with some deadlines
no,
I had to meet and different things that happened that I had to do it. I run the company. Who's going to do it? And
no.
I took time off. I took some time. I said, okay, now we're going to have family time and we're going to take a break. And we enjoyed that time. And it was a set time. And then we came back and went back to work. And we needed to refresh.
Yeah, yeah, and also, the good thing is, but by doing that, also changing your environment, doing things differently, on a brain level, also, it creates neuroplasticity, so it actually opens up new pathways for you to be more creative, think differently. So it's actually beneficial if you wanted to look at it purely from a performance perspective.
Yeah.
um, you know, uh, when you look at the science of productivity, if you really want to talk about productivity, then you can only do your best work in sprints of 60 to 90 minutes, and then after that, you need to give yourself, just for a few minutes, a break, if you really want to sort of go at it. So it's just playing with your own human limits, but also using them as an opportunity to do something meaningful. So yeah, absolutely.
Yes, and I would love to ask you on the neuroplasticity aspect, what do you think about with all the lockdowns? We are kind of stuck in a little bit of a way in our home environment, or maybe just our communities. We're not able to travel as much. We don't have the freedom maybe to go out every day or go driving different streets, depending on where you live and how strict it is. What can we do to combat that, to continue to I don't know, enhance our neuroplasticity and do our brain gym, so to speak? Do that while we're doing our lockdowns again.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot you can do, like learning in itself. Whenever you learn something new, you're creating new connections in your brain. And I think the interesting thing is to make it fun, make it interesting, like live your daily life as an opportunity for self-exploration. So, that's kind of what we want to do with Essentia, is to help you raise and identify all the activities and explore activities that you could do for your well-being and personal fulfillment, and kind of see how they fit different parts of your life. So for us, for example, we have divided it into 8 areas of your life. But then we also help you look at it. What part of you are you nurturing by doing this? Is it your mind, your body, your heart? So we want people to sort of go on these journeys of self-exploration where they could do a bit of learning, a bit of crafts, a bit of community work, even with the internet. The internet is an amazing pool of information. And if you put intentionality and you kind of have a structure around it, you can really learn and connect with amazing people. So of course, I'm not saying you should be on a screen 24/7, because even though I'm an app, I'm actually for well-being, and I know that can be taxing. But and that's just very powerful. And another thing that I would say that actually may be sort of counterintuitive is, how about just sitting and being with yourself for like 10, 15 minutes, half an hour, and do actually nothing. Because we're so used to being active, and I think that when we actually take this time for ourselves and just sit and observe, it's like basically meditating with your eyes open. It's incredibly powerful. It's incredibly revealing.
Yes, it's so helpful. I know I invested in the hot sauna, the infrared sauna, and
Nice.
it's a EMF free one. It's a really nice one, and I do that sauna every night. And
So
it's
nice.
just really nice because I'm in there 45 minutes and I'm sitting there, and it's like a meditation time.
Yeah.
I do a morning meditation also when I first wake up, but it's this time where it really gives me clarity, and I'm detoxing and I'm relaxing, and then I take a nice shower, and I'm so tired. I've been away from the screen, so I'm not looking at a screen, and I can go right to sleep. And it really made a change. I sleep better. And it's because I'm not involved in anything else. I have time to, like, I don't know, process the day.
Yes.
Yes. It's
Wonderful.
really cool.
I'm a big fan of saunas too. It's such an amazing experience. I haven't done one in a while, obviously due to lockdown. But yeah, you're kind of unplugging, and your brain is still processing things, and you're giving yourself time to digest things. And of course, you're talking about quality of sleep. Talking about energy in our day is so important. So if you were able to create that sort of break, that tech break. Because obviously, if you look at a screen, your eyes think there's still daylight. So to kind of transition into a night mode is very difficult. And I think that's one of the problems as well, is to manage our relationship with technology is very, very, very important.
Yes. And how important would you say sleep is? Is there something that measures your sleep in your app, or what do you think about sleep regarding productivity? And
well, for me personally, I find is essential to have quality sleep. Like if I don't sleep, I can't operate. I've seen it time and time. No matter how much, well, I try not to drink too much coffee, but like it just doesn't work for me. Sleep is a necessary condition. Like I would say, sleeping and meditating are the two things that really like get that sort of balance. And yeah, I think it's essential. And you need physically, like some studies say, at least 7 hours for your physical and your sort of rational part, your brain at least to sort of fully recover. Yeah, with us, well, the whole vision of our app is to actually sync with other apps. So, sync with like dieting apps, with fitness apps, with sleeping apps, and like maybe with your like smartwatch. So to really sort of create this kind of omnipresent experience where we kind of collaborate with other apps that are doing a great job in the different fields, and we just want to become kind of a filtering system for them. So one of the focuses in the future would definitely be syncing with sleep because it's so important.
Yes. And I think sleep for me, I mean, I'm just going to the personal trainers we all do in January and like, hey, okay, help me.
Yeah.
And he's like, you have to have a day of recovery. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it's like, you have to give the muscles a break. So this is why you have leg day and then you have arm day. You have different days to work different body parts, and you have to rest. And the rest is where the muscle happens. The rest is where your muscle builds and you repair. And that's where you get stronger and you build more muscle. While you're losing weight, you want to build muscle or else it's not going to be good. And you're just going to lose weight and it's not going to look so good. So you want to build muscle at the same time. How do you do that? You've got to rest. And it almost seems counterintuitive. Like, okay, I want to be really productive and get more done, but I have to go rest. Same thing. I want to go build muscles and I have to rest this part of my body. And it really does go back to that. You do have to rest. That's when the magic happens. And in neuroscience, that's when we actually do our learning. It's not when a student is in school learning. It's when they're at play or when they're resting or sleeping. That's when that learning, the neuroplasticity, that's when it takes place and forms. So that's when it happens. And so we need to honor that instead of fighting it. And I think a lot of us are like little children, you think of a 2-year-old, I don't want to go to bed, and they cry. I don't want to rest because I want to go play. I want to go, especially if you're loving what you're doing. I love what I do. It's so hard for me to stop. I really love what I do. And so I do have to have a lot of discipline in that. And the sauna thing has been like a saving grace for me to get to sleep. And I thank myself. I give myself a lot of gratitude for giving myself the time to rest now. Whereas before, in the past, I would feel guilty. And I slept 7 or 8 hours. How could I do that? Now it's like, I needed that. At a certain point, you just need it. And I'm more productive.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think it's also important for me, at least, because I share your thoughts and experiences as passionate entrepreneurs. We would love to, that's all we'd love to do. But actually, one of the challenges for me to build this app for myself, is to kind of change my relationship with what I could consider doing after work, so that egoistically it feels like what I'm doing after work is actually making me better at work while also doing something different. So, calling your family, maybe experimenting with painting, something I've never done before, or reading up on a completely new subject. The idea is to kind of build a narrative around it, where by doing that, you're stimulating curiosity, but actually you're working on yourself. So you are going to reap the benefits the following day, but you're experimenting, right? And that's that for me is the narrative that works for me, so that I actually feel really inspired to do it, rather than just say, oh yeah, I should take a break and do it, because that sometimes is hard, but if I build a narrative around it, then it becomes actually much more meaningful and fun to try different things.
Yes, I love that. It's the inhale and the exhale. There's a rhythm to even our breathing. We have to have that. Both parts. The exhale is the part that we need to breathe out and just relax for a second, even. And we need that. We need to play. I think bringing play, even whatever you're doing, if you're home and you've got the kids home now with the homeschooling now, you've never had your kids home and now you've got to teach them at home. remember to let them play, to have play time. They weren't designed to sit at a desk 8 hours a day. Neither were grown-ups, really. And we need to like go exercise and move our bodies. And so give play as important a role as the learning, and they will learn more because they've had that release, that time to just be kids. And especially with the stress and all the stuff going on, they need to play a little extra. They need to
Yeah.
have a little more fun. I mean, laugh about silly things, make things fun, make it okay. If somebody spills milk or something else, that's, make it a joke. Don't make it so serious because it's a very serious time. They need a little bit of lightness
Yeah.
right now. Any bit of, okay, it doesn't have to be so serious because everything is a lot right now for little children. And turn off the news. Maybe you want to hear the news, maybe hear it alone, and then share about it in a child appropriate way so they don't have to see the pictures, and so they know what's going on in the world to a certain amount, to their age level, but they don't have to see all the terrible pictures, and they don't have to worry because the news makes it scary for everybody, and we don't need to spend our time there. So that will help. And well, talking about age, so what is this, just for adults, or for maybe college students too would benefit from the app? What do you think?
Well, we're testing, I think the product was mainly designed for professionals, obviously grown-ups. But we've spoken to some professors at some schools and some psychologists, and they think that the product could be interesting as well for students. Of course, they have a different life. I think when I was a student, I wasn't thinking much about my well-being, if I'm honest. So I have to, we also have to be deal with reality of where one is in their stage. But I also see the younger generation being quite, very much into the sort of sustainable living and improving their quality of life. So I think it could be an interesting market, quite frankly, because it is about self-management. And actually, picking up on that, I think if there's one thing that our educational system hasn't really taught us is how to manage ourselves and deal with our inner world. So I think, it would be great. I mean, I certainly wish where I studied, they taught me more about, the inner, how to set meaningful goals, to understand who I really am and what I want in life, because that ultimately, how to deal with stress, how to deal with uncertainty, because ultimately that's what life is in many ways, and the beauty of it. So
Yes.
why not? That would be amazing.
That's so true. So again, we are coming to the end of our talking time here. So I'd love for you to share how people can get the app and try it out and learn more about it.
Sure. So, well, you can visit the website. It's Essentia. It's 3SSENTIA.com. At the moment, it's a web application, so for desktop only. And you can go there, start. Your free trial is going to be free for a while. So we want to get as much feedback and hear from you, on what your thoughts are and how to improve the product, because we're growth mindset, and we have a big vision for the future, and this is just the beginning. So of course we want to keep improving it. You can follow us on LinkedIn. That's when we tend to be most active on, again, Essentia. And that's those are the two main channels. I mean, we are a bit active on Facebook and Twitter, but I would say mainly Instagram and our website.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you again for being a guest on the show. And I will be trying this out myself to improve my productivity and sharing more. So thank you again. And for those tuning in, stay tuned, and we'll be right back after these messages. So I would love to share now a short chapter from my book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. And this chapter goes into using the Boots formula for your finances and investing. Take a listen. Chapter 5. Money Matters. Finance.
Geneva showed up at my vacation rental with a car full of her belongings, everything she hadn't been able to fit in her small storage unit down the road. She told me she'd been moving from one. I think that's something you tend to learn about who you really are and do a lot of the self-work when tough times hit. And this year has had us make some course corrections, and some of us have really had an easier time than others, but you get to see it could be a victory of, oh my gosh, I got through maybe a time that there was a depression, or gosh, the whole business shut down and I had to figure out a new way to survive. Or maybe your rents weren't coming in if you're a landlord, or maybe you didn't have the money to meet the rent and you had to figure out a different way because your job or business got shut down. So these are victories. Celebrate the victories and look at those. That's the gold. And Napoleon Hill has this other 3 feet from gold. And it's not giving up when you're so close to success, to victory. And it may be, this is a great time to redesign your life on your terms and to reinvent your life on your terms, to decide what success means to you now. And it may be different. This year may have you thinking about a different way, a different lifestyle that you want. There's a lot of people that are moving away from big cities. Some people are moving to big cities. I know that I've moved one of my main homes, the main home, away from a big city, and that was actually something I did intentionally before the universal pause, before COVID was a thing, before we even heard about it, and really close to it. It was in October of 2019 that I had made this choice. And it was really to be in a place where there is a lot of event space and places where I could do tons of live events. And so much for that, because we haven't had any live events since. And that's something I do really hope that we get back to at some point. But until then, I have been able to travel the world virtually. And I have events online in Australia, South Africa. I've had events in London. I've had events in all over the United States that have gone national and international online. So the way my thinking about events, how I do events, has changed. And I'm very grateful that I did relocate to a space where that's available. Yet there's also nature and different things that I personally wanted for myself and my family to be able to enjoy, lakes and hikes and swimming and all these great things. So this year, coming up on New Year's, maybe it's a birthday too, create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and beginning at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. A reminder from Napoleon Hill. And I can promise you one thing, you are going to get people, family, friends, loved ones, that when you declare, when you make a public declaration and you say, I am going to do X, Y, or Z, this is my goal, this is my plan. When you say something or you start working toward a plan or a goal, you're going to get some pushback. That I can promise you. And that's going to be out of love, out of protection, sometimes it's out of jealousy or concern. It doesn't matter. You've got to go with your definite plan. And listen to your personal desire, not what somebody else wants for your life, not what maybe you wanted years ago as your success or happiness or whatever that goal or outcome is, whether that's for business or your personal life. This is your time. You can take your power back and your life back this year, going into 2021. This is something, obviously, it's something that needs to happen right now, as soon as possible. It doesn't even have to wait until the 31st of December or the 1st of January to be put into place. It needs to be put into action as soon as possible. Now, I think this is a beautiful time and space for us to have those moments. Well, maybe a lot of us are on the holiday vacation time, and you might have some time off from work. It's a great time to take advantage of that space and do that planning. Plan your action steps. Make your decisions. Think about what you're going to do. And so that is really going to give you different results. It doesn't matter what the world is doing as much as what you've decided to do. And that's another Napoleon Hill concept, and that's definiteness of purpose. Once you have the definiteness of purpose, the definite decision has been made, and you plot your course of action. Yes, you may have to course correct. We don't know what surprise is next. That's okay, because as long as you are moving forward, that is going to make all the difference. I also would like to invite those who are interested in an accountability and group program. I am offering a lifestyle design program. It is, yes, I want to reinvent my life on my terms. It is guided by me personally. It's an engaging online training that will help you reboot and reinvent an area of your business or personal life. And while we go through the upgraded life program, you'll notice that the tools, accountability, friendship with the other members will help you as you learn to apply the Boots formula to help you live your life, a more meaningful life on your terms, and get even more happiness while you're participating in your redesign process. I will be guiding you each step of the way to living life and doing business on your terms. So these are small group courses, and this course is actually going to be 50% off. It is a 1-month course. We meet weekly, and there's 2 different times that you can meet, either during the day or an evening time. It's Pacific time. It's live. There's also email response back and forth during the week to help you personalize your lifestyle design. So I'd love to work with you on that. It's a great, affordable way to get into a group setting where you keep each other accountable, and I would love to work with you. So if you are interested in that, go to SheilaMack.com, and there you will see lifestyle design. I want to reinvent my life on my terms, and it is going to be marked at half off. So I'm looking forward to that, and that there's also a free gift for you. And anybody that's signing up for the course or not, if you go to the SheilaMack.com, you will see there is a small mini course. This is a recorded video course that's the introduction to the Boots formula. This is something to watch to get an idea for the Boots formula and how to apply it to your life goals or your business goals for this year. All right, now don't forget, creating a definite plan for carrying out your desire needs to begin at once. So think of 2 ways you can get started now. And now we are going. If you are just tuning in, this is the Sheila Mack Show. Here we have real people sharing real stories and actionable steps to help you reinvent, rebuild, and reboot your business and personal life on your terms. And I also would like to share with you some other things that I also offer. I do have Mastermind live weekly courses, and those are available at SheilaMack.com, SheilaMac.com. And there right now for this month, all the courses are on sale for January for our New Year's kickoff. And I have actually opened up a few more afternoon spots and days. So we have some new course availabilities. If you are looking for courses, a mastermind group, they're small groups. I lead all the courses. I do actually have a few co-leaders and special guests that come on throughout the month. And these are 1 month at a time, or you can take the course and continue with the group for up to 12 months. Depending on what you're doing, we use the Boots formula, and that's something I teach about. There's a free course that you take, a mini course that teaches you about the Boots formula. You can also align it with my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action. And that Boots formula is something that I've used with many of my clients, and I've used myself, and that's why I came up with the formula. And it's helped me get back on track whenever I've hit a difficult spot in life. And life does have waves. We have to learn how to surf, of course. So getting through parenting. So I have parenting courses. I raised 6 amazing children that are now all college and above. And so 3 are mine, 3 I fostered to adopt. So I have a diverse, beautiful, incredible family and lots of experience raising children. And then I also have one on elder care there. So if you are dealing with maybe having your elders back at home, or helping your parents and now you're parenting your parents, that is a big thing. And there's a lot of pieces to that. I actually took care of all my relatives that they've all passed away now, but parents, grandparents, and I was the one in charge of everyone at a young age, where everybody was needing different care because I had grandparents, and the parents could not take care of my grandparents. So I had quite a bit of experience in that. And so we have small groups that work on how to deal with those issues and having those sacred conversations with our parents. We also have Breaking Free from Addiction. We have a course on self-care and spirituality, and then lifestyle design. And this is a great time if you have hit some rock bottoms last year and you are now ready. This is a clean slate, and it is a great time to now redesign your life, reinvent your life on your terms. We do use the Boots formula. We have small groups, and we have real live discussions and answers to help you, support you getting through your lifestyle design to get you back on track and rebooted as quickly as possible. So check those out at www.sheilamac.com. And also you can get the book. It is now a best-selling book. It is available on Audible, Kindle, hardcover, softcover, and also I had a blast. I have to tell you, I had a blast doing the Audible recordings in a studio in Southern California. And this was actually done before the lockdowns, actually in late 2019. One of the last memories I have of when the world was different, before we had to wear masks. And so it was a beautiful experience, and I hope you enjoy that book this month. I am also donating one book or one course to someone in a homeless shelter. I'm focused on moms in homeless shelters that are trying to get back on their feet and reboot. And so I'm gifting them books, and I'm also gifting them with the ability to attend some of these courses as well, to help them quickly and easily get back on their feet with the support of a good group. And I think that makes all the difference. So I look forward to seeing you in one of the classes, or when you tune in next time here on NBC's Sheila Mac Show. All right. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light. To grab a copy of my new best-selling book, Bootstraps and Bra Straps, the formula to go from rock bottom back into action in any situation. It is now available on Audible as well as on Amazon and Kindle and at www.sheilamac.com. I will be donating a book or course. If you look online, you'll see the courses I offer as well to women's shelters across the United States and Canada whenever a course or book is purchased. So check it out, and I look forward to sharing more with you next time. As always, I wish you life, love, laughter, and light.